After having claimed the lives of 64 people, the deadly typhoon Mangkhut has now moved to southern China. The typhoon slammed into South China's Guangxi Zhuang Autonomous Region after making landfall in neighboring Guangdong province on early Sunday. As the typhoon traveled at 33 kilometers per hour, the country's National Observatory issued its highest alert level. Over 200,000 people were transferred to safety shelters as the storm packed strong winds and heavy rains. Hurricane Florence continues to wreak havoc across North and South Carolina. More than 900 people were rescued from rising floodwaters and 15,000 remain in shelters in the state. So far, at least 17 people have died from the storm in North Carolina. Fresh evacuations continue to be ordered as inland as rivers swell, threatening of tens of thousands of homes. London Mayor Sadiq Khan has called for a second Brexit referendum, criticising the government's handling of negotiations with the European Union. The Labour politician says that the United Kingdom was facing a bad deal with Brexit. Khan also says that the Brexit debate had also become more about former Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson's political ambitions than what was good for the United Kingdom. Sadiq Khan is not the only one criticising the Brexit deal. Before him, Boris Johnson had also hit out at the negotiations with the European Union. British Prime Minister Theresa May called Boris Johnson's suicide bomb West a description of her Brexit negotiations completely inappropriate and urged Britons to focus on the delivery of Brexit instead of her leadership. Last week, the former Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson had likened May's Brexit plan to wrapping a suicide bomb West around the British Constitution and handing over the trigger to the European Union. The United Nations Special Envoy for Yemen, Martin Griffiths, arrived in Yemen's rebel-held capital Sana'a just a week after Geneva peace talks collapsed following the Houthi rebels' absence. Griffiths has earlier said that Yemen war has been escalating across all fronts. Yemen has been locked into a civil war since the Houthi rebels overran much of the country militarily and seized all northern provinces, including the capital Sana'a, in 2014. Violence marred the Independence Day in Honduras as anti-government protesters clashed with riot police. Demonstrators were out on the streets to protest against the rule of President Juan Hernandez. Critics accuse Hernandez and his supporters of committing fraud in last year's presidential elections. An initial vote count in the 2017 polls showed a victory for the Left Party before counting was abruptly paused by the electoral body and then resumed to show a surprise Hernandez victory. Around 500 people demonstrated in St. Petersburg against a planned increase in Russia's pension age a week after hundreds were detained for protesting against a reform that has hurt President Vladimir Putin's approval rating. The proposed change, already amended by Putin, envisages raising the retirement age for men from 60 to 65 and from 55 to 60 for women. Over 100 Myanmar youth activists and journalists called for the release of two jailed Reuters scribes, saying that the 7-year prison terms handed to the duo threatened the public's right to information. Demonstrators gathered in the heart of the country's largest city, Yangon, holding signs and chanting slogans denouncing the verdict. A contingent of police looked on as the protesters released black balloons printed with the images of the reporters' faces. The two reporters were convicted under Myanmar's Official Secret Act. The Spanish Coast Guard intercepted more than 460 migrants who were attempting to reach Europe via the Mediterranean Sea. Spain's southern shores have become the main gateway into Europe for migrants seeking a better life, particularly since Italy's new populist government put strict migration policies at place. A member of punk protest group Pussy Riot has arrived at the German capital of Berlin to seek treatment for what could be a possible case of poisoning. The punk band issued a statement saying that the member has lost his eyesight and ability to speak. The members had served 15-day jail sentences for disrupting July's FIFA World Cup final in Russia. Residents of 3 Massachusetts communities were allowed to return to their homes for the first time since a series of gas explosions killed 1 man and set dozens of buildings on fire in the United States. Natural gas leaks believed to have been caused by pressurized lines triggered a series of explosions and fires. Local officials ordered residents of some 8,000 homes and businesses to evacuate and shut off electricity to prevent further fires. This was one of the largest natural gas pipeline accidents in U.S. history. The first joint military exercise among the member nations of Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation, or BIMSTEC, concluded successfully in the western Indian city of Pune. The Indian Army Chief Bipin Rawat said that the purpose of the week-long joint exercise called MILEX-18 was to coordinate with the common problem of terrorism in the region and learn from each other's best practices. Swelling of the Brahmaputra River has created a flood-like situation in the northeast Indian state of Assam. The Central Water Commission has said that the water level of the Brahmaputra has reached the danger mark as a result of continuous rainfall. Brahmaputra, which is one of the largest rivers in India, is crucial for agriculture in the northeast India. However, every year it floods a large part of the region, killing hundreds, destroying crops and leaving several homeless. A woman is breaking stereotypes in the Indian city of Kolkata by becoming a sculptor. Kanchi Pal, who started working 5 years ago with her father, now works with a group of men in the city's famous Kumartuli Lane. While speaking on women's role in creating Durga idols, Kanchi says that women have always been active in creating small Durga idols, but they do not come in front line. In an effort to fulfill his deceased grandfather's wish, a man in eastern India's Cuttack district has made a friendly home in a valley for over 100 people by feeding them on a regular basis. The man says that in the year 1999, his grandfather spotted 2 peahens and 1 peacock and took care of them. Indian Defence Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has said that India will not lower its guard along the line of actual control with China. Sitharaman's comments come nearly a month after her Chinese counterpart's visit to New Delhi. After the talks, Wei Fenghe had said that both sides recognized to carry forward the broad decisions arrived at the informal summit between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Xi Jinping. The special investigation team arrested 3 people, including one of the main accused, Nishu, in connection with the alleged rape of 20-year-old Haryana CBSE topper. Besides Nishu, 2 other people who were arrested were the owner of the Borewell storeroom where the crime was committed and a doctor who had been called to check the victim. However, 2 other main accused, including the army man, are still on the run. From the mother of dragons in Game of Thrones to Captain America from the Avengers, thousands of comic book and science fiction fans went head-to-head for the best costume competition at the first Comic-Con in Africa. The world-famous comic book convention made its debut in the continent, with the South African city of Johannesburg playing host. Organizers say that the event has attracted comic, superhero and anime fans from Botswana, Zimbabwe and Nigeria, and that it would expand beyond South Africa into other African countries. Outgoing President Enrique Pena Nieto kicked off the celebrations for Mexico's Independence Day in the country's capital, which was attended by tens of thousands of people shortly before midnight. President gave the famous cry of the call to arms known as El Grito in Mexico City. Pena Nieto's presidency is due to finish in December. He will make way for leftist President-elect López Obrador. China International Coffee Show opened in Beijing, attracting more than 300 producers to showcase their latest coffee products. Baristas created patterns, including those featuring leaves, animals, feathers, at the Chinese and Italian coffee latte art competition of the three-day event. Beans from China's Yunnan province and countries such as Ethiopia, Colombia, Brazil were displayed at the event. Coffee is slowly becoming the favorite beverage of the Asian nation. Surveys have said that China's coffee consumption is growing at an annual rate of 15%, in contrast with the global average of 2%.